Hi, happy Friday. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our weekly live training here inside the fabulous Facebook group called the Savvy Social Crew. Now, if you're watching the replay, still go ahead and say hi in the comments. Those of you just joining me live, also go ahead and say hi in the comment section. Just going to click on over to the group here, make sure I am indeed going live in the right place. Always good to know. And also, those of you watching this live replay on YouTube, feel free to drop a question or a comment in the comment section below. I like for these to be as interactive as possible, all right? Okay, so today I'm going to be answering a user question, and it's all about event marketing. But before I dive into that question for today, I wanted to give a few updates. So every Friday, I go live here in the group, usually at 9:30. Today I'm running a little bit late. That's okay. We're all human. So next Friday, I will be doing an exclusive behind-the-scenes sneak peek of the Savvy Social School. Now, if you haven't heard yet, the Savvy Social School is the place for business owners to get everything they need to increase engagement, grow their social media following, grow a following of profitable followers, okay? So the Savvy Social School, if someone could drop savvysocialschool.com in the comment section, that would be awesome. So the waitlist is, you can sign up for the waitlist now. The school will be opening officially in 10 days on July 30th. But next Friday, July 27th, I'm going to be doing a behind the scenes exclusive. You guys will get the first look at what actually is in the Savvy Social School. I'm very excited about that. All right, savvysocialschool.com. Second update, I just released the 9th episode of the podcast. You can listen to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, iTunes, Google Play or Google Podcasts now, and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all of those wonderful places. You can just search for the Savvy Social Podcast. See kind of a trend here going. I've got the Savvy Social Crew, got the Savvy Social School, and I've got the Savvy Social Podcast. So we're 9 episodes in. We've had almost 400 downloads total, which is phenomenal. Make sure you check that out for social media tips, tricks, advice. It's like an extended version of these live trainings. And I talk to experts, guest experts, who tell us about their own social media strategies and what's worked for them. So that's the Savvy Social Podcast. All right, so today, let's get right into what we're talking about, which is a question from Nathan. And Nathan says, I'm thinking about the process of creating an event, network, breakfast, lunch and learn, that kind of thing. So the coordination of the actual event using Facebook to invite attendees, promote and update, etc. He wants to know how all the options and opportunities available for marketing event specifically through Facebook. So I'm going to use one of my clients today as an example for how to market an event using Facebook. Now, before you dive into marketing your event using Facebook, one of the things that I want to emphasize is that you have a place to sell tickets, okay? So before you start marketing your event on social media, you need to have a spot where people can buy tickets or opt in some sort of way. So even if it's a free event, you want to make sure that you have a place where you're collecting their information because it's not saved forever. Like if they mark themselves as in a Facebook event as they're attending or something like that, but they never actually purchased a ticket, once that event is over, that information is gone. So you need to have some sort of ticket place. Now there's a few that I like. Meetup.com is a really good option for that because you can email your members. You can also use something like Eventbrite, and even if you have a free event, you can use Eventbrite to sell tickets. So that's a very useful tool for you there. Hey Ginger, welcome. All right, so I'm going to be using my client as an example, and I want to just show you a few different ways that we market their events using Facebook. Now, a little bit about the client. I'm going to share my screen here, so I won't be able to see your questions, but feel free to ask questions that you have along the way and drop them in the comments below. All right, I believe you can see my screen here. Let me make it bigger for you. And yes, I have a lot of tabs, no judging. All right, so this is my client, YouFeast. It's an event-based company in Toronto. And I'd probably say like 4 to 6 times a month, they host an event for foodies. So they have restaurants they are in collaboration with, and the restaurants produce exclusive menus, and foodies all around the Greater Toronto Area, also known as GTA, can buy their tickets to these events and enjoy them. Now, their events are a bit unique in that they're communal style, so everyone sits at the same table. Very neat. They are wallet free, so once you buy your ticket, you don't have to worry about drinks, you don't have to worry about tip. Everything's included. So it's kind of a different, unique style to it. Now, for what I do for marketing the events, the very first thing that I do is I create an event on Facebook. To create an event on Facebook, when you're looking at your page, you want to go to the left-hand side and click Events. And once you click Events, you can see that I've already got some here. If you don't have any, this will be blank. But what I would suggest is go to some other pages, check out their events. You can see upcoming events, you can see past events here. Okay. So upcoming events. So if I want to create an event here, I would click Create Event. And then this is where you populate the information for your event. So you want to make sure you have an image here that really represents what that event is about. The event name, and you only get 64 characters, so don't get crazy with it. And I believe there's certain characters you can't put in there depending on what they are. The event location, very important, so people know where they need to show up. If it's a digital event, you can put that in here as well. How often the event occurs. So if it's a repeat event, you can set it up that way, though I personally recommend still creating separate event listings for each one because it kind of groups them together when it's a repeat event. So it really depends on how you want to market it, but I personally like to create separate events for each one. And the reason being is that every time I create an event, this event, once I hit publish, sends a notification out to everyone who is following the page. So it's a really great opportunity to kind of poke them. We talked about poking before. Poke them and let them know, hey, look, we've got this event coming up. All right, so you've got the start date, the end date. Make sure you put the times in there as well. Make sure it's in the right time zone. Categories here. So you've got quite a few categories: art, causes, comedy, crafts, dance, drinks, film, fitness, food. So for this client, I always pick food, either food or drinks, because sometimes they have happy hour events. Games, gardening, health, home, literature, music, networking. So Nathan, networking may be the category you want to select. Party, religion, shopping, sports, theater, and wellness. So the reason you want to select these categories is because it does help with the searchability of your events. So in a moment, I'll show you how it looks if a user is just looking for events in their area. So you want to make sure you have this as filled out as possible because you have the opportunity to connect with people who may have never heard of you before. So you really want to give them a lot of information here. That's where this event description comes in. Go into as much detail as you need to. In Nathan's case, we really want to talk about what the expectations are at the event. Will there be speakers? Is it going to be purely networking? Is there food involved? That sort of thing. For this client, we go into details about the menu. We talk about the chefs. We talk about the restaurants. Any information that we can provide to users that really helps them make a decision on whether or not they go to this event. All right. Moving on to the keyword section. So keywords, we really want to make sure that these keywords relate to the event, and you only have a very small selection based on Facebook's predetermined keywords. You can't just type in any old thing. So for example, this event is about food. So if I start typing in food, it's got food festival and food tasting. So those are usually the ones that I pick. If you're talking about networking, I don't even think they have that. You could just start typing in some things to see what they've got, but it's really based on Facebook's predetermined list of keywords. All right, so is this event kid-friendly? You want to tick that off because Facebook has their own algorithm where they show this event to certain people. So if it is kid-friendly, you want to make sure to indicate that. This is a new feature here called messaging where people can ask questions through Messenger. It basically prompts them a little bit to do that. So test it, see if it works for you. I've been testing it. Not a lot of people have any questions about the event, so I haven't been getting any messages specifically. Usually it's pretty black and white whether they want to go or not. And even a lot of our events have details about whether they're vegetarian or vegan friendly, whether there's non-alcoholic options, and all of those sorts of things. All right, now here is what I think is the most important part of your event listing on Facebook is to have the ticketing URL. Because what happens with Facebook is a lot of people may mark themselves as attending or mark themselves as interested and never actually click through to purchase the ticket. Even if it's a free event, you want to try to encourage people to get a ticket so that you have their information so you can remarket to them or remind them or indicate or add them to future events, right? Tell them about future events. So, ticketing URL, make sure this links directly to the place where they can purchase tickets. Do not link to your website here, just like your home page. That's not helpful for anybody. You want to link directly to the place that they can get tickets for this specific event, okay? All right, last section here is co-hosts. So if you are hosting this event at a location like a restaurant or a venue, you want to add them as a co-host because if they accept your invitation to co-host this event, it shows up on that venue or that restaurant's Facebook page. Okay, so you're not only marketing to your own Facebook page's audience, but you're also adding your event to that other Facebook page's audience. It's a really great opportunity to expand your reach, but make sure it's really important that your co-hosts are actually people who are co-hosting the event. Otherwise, they just won't accept that invitation. This isn't an automatic thing. They have to basically approve this process, but you can do that. So for YouFeast, for instance, we oftentimes will send invitations to the restaurant that the event is being hosted at. We'll also send invitations to any of the partners we have. So if there's a particular beverage partner or a particular food partner or a particular sponsor, we'll make sure we have all of that information in here as a co-host. They have to have a Facebook page in order for this to work, but really want to make sure here that we are giving ourselves the maximum reach we possibly can with these events, okay? So that's how you set up your event using Facebook. Now, there's a few ways that people can find your event, even if they're not on your page, okay? So I'm going to show you that right now. I'm going to go to my home feed here. And on the left-hand side, they keep moving it around on me. Let me see. See more. Am I missing it? Yes, right at the top. Events. So on the left-hand side, hit events. Now this will show you events that are happening near wherever you are. So for me specifically, I like to keep up with events in the area. I like food festivals. I like going to networking events. I like any of those types of things. Local events, marketplaces, that sort of thing. So I personally go here quite a lot. And some other users may as well, which is why you want to have that information filled out as much as possible. So based on Facebook's algorithm, they've got this section here, events that I may like. And you can scroll through and see there are some that are recommended to me based on events that I've marked myself as interested in going, and also based on events near me. So I live in Fort Erie, so it's going to give me a lot of Buffalo events, but also it's going to give me some events in the Niagara region. Mostly Buffalo, it looks like right now. Recently announced events from people I know, but you can also go over here and go by category. So this is why the category section is so important. So if I'm going to click networking, it's going to look for networking events near Fort Erie, Ontario, where I am. And it's an algorithm, so it's also based on events I've been to in the past. So right at the top here, We've got an event from Market Savvy. I went to their event in June, and so Facebook knows that, and so they're going to send me this event first, right? It's gonna pop up first right away. Now, there's a lot of options here as well. On the left-hand side, you can choose between, I want to find events today, next week, whatever, Fort Erie, Buffalo, Niagara Falls, Toronto, and the different categories here. All right. Okay, so back to Eufeast. I want to show you a few other ways we market events, and I'm actually going to show you outside of Facebook. So one of the main things that we do as well is we have a newsletter. It's one of the main ways that users can sign up for an event, and it's the first place that events are announced. I don't personally help with the newsletter though, so I'm going to go into what I do, which is a lot on Instagram. We have Facebook, we have Instagram, and we have Twitter. So on the Instagram account, for every event that we have, we create this flyer here. And this is an introduction to the event, and traditionally speaking, these flyers perform quite well when we post them online. This one's kind of in the middle, but maybe not so great of an example. But this event coming up in August 1st, we post this flyer on Instagram that really captures people's attention and talks about the event in a way that's as interesting as possible, right? So we've got Memories of Cambodia, big. We've got Eufeast, big. So people know exactly what's going on here. In the caption, we have things like we're tagging the restaurant, we're tagging the chef, we're tagging our sponsors, okay? And then we also use hashtags related to that location. So this event specifically in Toronto, make sure we're using Toronto hashtags like Toronto Foodie, Taste of the Six, Toronto Eats, Toronto Love, YYZ Eats, Taste Toronto. We're talking to our people here. So it's really important when you're marketing your events to make sure that you are giving yourself as many opportunities as possible to connect with people and individuals as they are, so they can find your event as much as possible, okay? All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen here really quickly and see what questions we have. Hopefully you guys are enjoying today's training. Like I said, every single Friday we do trainings live inside of the Savvy Social Crew Facebook group, and you guys pick the topic. So this topic was picked by Nathan. Thanks, Nathan, for submitting the topic. All right, so we've got a few questions here. Good morning, Janice. Nice to see you here. Ginger asks, Ginger says she'd love to know the criteria for deciding when to show and not show the guest list. Ginger, great question. Generally speaking, if it's a public event, showing the guest list I think is great. In instances where I wouldn't show the guest list, if it's a sensitive topic or if you don't feel comfortable with your guests interacting with each other, okay? So an example would be maybe you're hosting an event for troubled teens. Maybe not showing the guest list in that instance would be helpful for your audience, okay? Yes. Ginger says she hasn't been putting in the messaging feature because she really wants to encourage engagement on the event page itself. Yes, Ginger, that is a great point. So people can post to the event page itself, which is more of a public place to ask their questions, definitely more helpful to everyone involved, because most often if somebody's asking a question, other people probably have that same question. So asking it publicly can be very, very helpful to that audience. Awesome. Great. Well, thanks so much, you guys, for joining me today live. It has been wonderful chatting with you. If you have any questions for future live trainings, if you have things that you want me to cover in these videos, feel free to drop it in anywhere in the group. You can just create your own post, or occasionally I have a post that comes out that prompts you basically for questions. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining me today for this live training. I will see you guys next Friday. Again, I'm so excited to show you a behind the scenes first look at the Savvy Social School. So I hope to see you then. Bye for now.